Hello, my beautiful movie people. Thank you so much for clicking on an episode of Side Flick. We've got movie news to discuss. Some of the things we're going to be discussing here today is Matthew Lillard informing us how many movies Blumhouse is planning for Five Nights at Freddy's. We got a couple of updates on Scream 6 from the runtime, this one being in 3D, even a new TV spot with some new footage, as well as some recent updates with James Gunn's DC Studios because some feathers are being ruffled. At least that's what the headlines say. That along with so much more, so leave your opinions down below, hit that subscribe button, and tell me what you're munching on when you watch my videos. I'm kind of curious. Is it something savory? Something sweet? Something sour? Better not be anything healthy. Moving into our first movie news story here today, catching up with something that happened earlier in the week, and that is Martin Lawrence and Will Smith announcing Bad Boys 4 is officially happening. A lot of stuff has happened to Will Smith since the last time we got Bad Boys 3, most notably his little fiasco at the Oscars, and that led a lot of people to think Will Smith's career was over. And I don't blame people for thinking that. There were articles coming out that certain studios and people no longer wanted to work with Will Smith. I think Netflix even canceled Bright 2. They were literally about to start that movie. Then the Oscar thing happened and they stopped production on it. Then there was even articles that Bad Boys 4 was completely canceled, but it looks like Sony was able to overlook this lapse in judgment Will Smith had that, you know, whether you agree or disagree with what he did, I am happy it didn't ruin his career. I'm still a Will Smith fan. Yeah, I don't agree with what he did, but I'm happy the man is still able to continue on with his career. Adding that up with Bad Boys 3 being actually my favorite of the Bad Boys movie, yeah, I said what I said. I'm interested to see where they go for this fourth one and if it can kind of reshape Will Smith's image, because that's what he's kind of got to do now. Some studios might still not be wanting to work with him, and if Bad Boys 4 makes a lot of money, oh, they're going to overlook that incident right away and sign Will Smith down and be like, all right, I Am Legend 2, that's still happening? Because hey, that was supposed to happen. What happened, man? I still want to see I Am Legend 2. So I throw it off to you guys. Bad Boys 4 is happening with Will Smith. Will you be watching? Will you not? And speaking of franchises continuing on with their sequels, we had something kind of surprising revealed with Michael B. Jordan and the Creed franchise. He was recently doing an interview getting ready to promote the upcoming Creed 3 movie that I'm extremely excited for. I can't wait to see that. And he was asked about continuing the franchise further since he is now the director of the latest movie, and he had this to say: I just want to expand the Creedverse within reason, but definitely expect other things around Creed for sure. Basically letting it be known Creed 4 is extremely likely, and not just that, the Creedverse that... Come on now, let's still call it the Rockyverse. Have a little respect for what came before. But the idea he's throwing down here that maybe if it's not a sequel, it could be a spin-off. And as someone who loves the Rocky franchise and loves what they're doing with the Creed movies, maybe this is the way you just continue on the world, sort of like a James Bond-esque thing. You know, instead of switching James Bond every other couple of movies, you just move on to the next boxer in line, whether it's a family member or a prodigy that Creed is training on. You know, believe it or not, the boxing world is still ever evolving. It would be so interesting if the spin-off Creed makes, and stay with me here, deals with this new influencer life culture that is kind of revitalizing boxing for some people. It'd be interesting, but maybe cringy if they did a spin-off of that kind of culture. Nevertheless, I know there's some Rocky fans right now still kind of sensitive with the movie because Sylvester Stallone has been outspoken that he doesn't even want to be part of this movie, where they did offer him a cameo, but because he doesn't own the rights to something he started, he feels very cheated out of something he built up. So yeah, kind of an interesting situation. This is where I throw it off to you guys. Michael B. Jordan mentioning that he could continue the Creed world either in spin-off or through a sequel. What would you like? Moving on here, let's talk about good old Scream Roman numeral 6, because, oh, the days are counting down. This movie is almost here, y'all. We got a lot of interesting updates building up with Scream 6. For one, let's talk about this kind of weird one where fans have noticed that a bunch of theaters are planning a fan event night where you can watch Scream 6 a day early, March 9th that is, but the movie is gonna be premiering and releasing in 3D, making it the first Scream movie to come out in 3D. Now, if you're a horror fan, I think you can remember some of these weird periods throughout horror where movies would be coming out in 3D, either as gimmicky or just kind of for fun. Scream kind of glanced over those eras of horror and never really touched upon them, and for a franchise that's meta and touches upon horror movies, it's kind of cool that maybe this is their way of just talking about that little 3D horror era. I doubt it'll be effective 3D. I don't think they actually shot this movie in 3D, so it'll be some of that conversion stuff that sometimes doesn't end up looking great, but that's just kind of interesting interesting. Scream 6 is the first one to do it. Besides that, and us getting details that this will be the longest Scream movie, coming in at 2 hours and 3 minutes, we did get a new international TV spot that gave us snippets of new footage towards the end. Some really great stuff that fans, of course, are picking apart because we just can't help it, even though we might accidentally spoil the movie for ourselves. And while I still wouldn't say there are no major spoilers in these new bits of footage, there are some cool new little Easter eggs and little moments you can catch on that get you excited. From one, we get a different angle of just Ghostface cocking this shotgun and getting ready to blast people. This is still one of the most badass things the franchise has done with Ghostface so far. I can't believe people were against Ghostface having a shotgun. We also get another look at a scene where I can't wait to see how it plays down, where characters are trying to go from building to building using a ladder, and like a lot of us suspected, the last person going, Ghostface was gonna taunt, and you can almost see him flip that ladder over and take her down. Now you might think that's a spoiler and that ruins a death right there, but you can see she's got a hold of somebody, so even if that ladder flips over and she starts falling, she's holding on to someone's hand. She could still survive that, and it makes you wonder, how is Ghostface gonna get her then? You know, is he gonna have to throw his knife? Is he gonna use the ladder and just kind of tug her down? Or all the characters could survive the event and get away. Another couple of looks here is of Chad beating up what looks like a Ghostface. Very happy Chad is gonna get some revenge on Ghostface. It's worth pointing out though, in these little moments, we do get some more looks at the shrine area with some Easter eggs. One, we have the green Ghostface stab mask that was shown in Scream 3 in some of the office studios. I like that. We have Kenny's hat and outfit, Gale Weathers' cameraman from the first Scream movie, and kind of my favorite one is of Randy's shirt from when he was working at the video store. You know, I'm kind of hoping somewhere in this shrine is that magic voice changer from Scream 3, and maybe the killers in here will use it at least once in a phone call. That'd be kind of cool. Overall, the hype is real for this movie. We are getting closer. What do you guys think of some of these new details involving Scream 6? Bringing us here to Matthew Lillard giving us a bit of an update on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Now, if you don't know by now, they have begun actually filming this thing. It's finally going to be coming to us either at the end of this year or next year. Release date isn't exactly confirmed yet, but Matthew Lillard did have this to say in a recent interview.
It was supposed to be in Philadelphia, but I just got cast in a movie called Five Nights at Freddy's.
Which congratulations.
Yeah, it's very fun. It's a 3-picture deal with Universal and Blumhouse. So unfortunately, my day job is taking me off to work, which I'm very grateful for.
That right there is him letting us know he is looking to be playing William Afton for 3 Five Nights at Freddy's movies. It should definitely be said, just because he signed on for 3 films, it doesn't guarantee that we will be getting them. You know, there's always a chance the first movie flops, or that fans and audiences hate the movie that they don't even want to continue, but hopefully that's not going to be the case. So if the first movie's successful, Blumhouse has the plan for 3 of these films. A lot of fans are quick to point out that Scott Cawthon, the creator and someone who's heavily involved in the making of these movies, originally wanted Five Nights at Freddy's to end on the 3rd game, so we could kind of see Scott Cawthon's kind of revitalized look at FNAF all condensed into 3 parts. To me, the biggest thing I was wondering is, if you're kind of familiar with some of the Five Nights at Freddy's lore, you know William Afton eventually becomes a very interesting character known as Springtrap, and I just wonder if they're going to set that up and have him appear in the 2nd movie or the 3rd movie. I had a lot of people mentioning that it should be in the 3rd movie because that's when he showed up in the FNAF series in the 3rd game. But if we use some like Sonic the Hedgehog logic, I mean, Knuckles the Hedgehog doesn't show up till the 3rd Sonic the Hedgehog game, but they had him pop up in the 2nd Sonic movie. And even right now, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is introducing some characters early, with Vanessa rumored to be part of the 1st movie. I think it could be very likely that William Afton is set up to be Springtrap by the 2nd movie. Still, we'll just have to wait and see. Kind of nice to know that there's 3 movies coming out. If you were planning these 3 films out, how would you want the story to go? This brings us now to some updates involving the DC Studios universe. I'm still very excited to see what James Gunn does, and even though we do have some Debbie Downers saying that no one's excited for this new universe, I'd beg to differ. A lot of the comic and storylines that are inspiration for upcoming movies have now completely sold out online. Stories like Tom King's Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. You also have the Grant Morrison Batman run that features Damian Wayne, and I myself even went to my local comic book shop and picked up The Authority because I want to be knowledgeable for this. But it's not all high and dandy right now in the DC universe, as we're getting some reports that people in Warner Brothers are kind of upset with James Gunn right now. An article came out from The Hollywood Reporter detailing that after James Gunn did his whole press event, some of the people that were part of the old DC management are still working at Warner Brothers under James Gunn, and they don't appreciate the way he was talking about their previous work. The articles are saying here, newsletters point out that among a slew of comments Gunn and Safran have already made about previous management of DC Universe, some were not exactly tactful. The report stated that some of those from the old regime are still now in charge at Warner Brothers Discovery, and there have been quite a few ruffled feathers. The DC studio duo described by THR as movie makers and not corporate. Unlike other executives who either toe the company line, express generic and genuine statements, or retweet praise, Gunn has been doing things his way by swatting down Twitter rumors and even holding fun polls for fans. And I really wanted to bring this up because I feel like there's going to be certain DC fans out there that try to weaponize this and go, oh, they're going to fire him. No, they can't stand him. He's gonna be done. The things James Gunn said that made them mad is he didn't like how the previous regime was just letting them use any IPs without a connected universe, that they were spending hundreds of millions of dollars on a movie without a finished script. All stuff I think is true, but to play devil's advocate, I mean, this would not be the first time DC has shown us a slate in our face and then those promises were not fulfilled. I think the main anger comes from James Gunn coming in and going, all right, this is what we're gonna do and we're gonna get it done, but it's like, what if Superman Legacy flops? What if one of your plans doesn't go the right way? I think some of these executives who are mad is just like, look, this job isn't as easy as it looks, James Gunn. So I can kind of understand where those angry executives are coming from. All is to really say there is a lot riding on this DC slate. You know, some fans have faith in it, some don't. I'm willing to wait and see where it goes, but I thought it was just interesting to bring it up now that some time has passed. How are you fans feeling about this whole DC situation? Comic books are being sold out. Some people are very excited for this, and there's other people that just want James Gunn fired. But that is all the movie news we currently have going on right now, guys. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch me talk some movie news. Don't be forgetting to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.